DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today's daily motivation is about going against the grain. Now, what does going against the grain mean? Just to make sure everybody understands it, it means looking at what everybody else is doing, what is the normal accepted mode of operation, and doing the opposite of that. Basically, going against what has been accepted and what's normal and what's the I'm not even gonna call it the standard, but let's just call it what's accepted and what's normal, what the masses are into. Now, one thing that I am a huge advocate of is that you never want to find yourself having too much in common with quote unquote most people. Why is this? Because most people by definition are average. So you don't want to have too much in common with average people because that means you're average. If you got a lot in common with average people, that means you're average. And that's simply how it works. You got a lot in common with fat people, you're going to be fat. You got a lot in common with broke people, you're going to be broke. All right. So when you share commonalities and thoughts and actions and habits with a certain group of people, then you are either already in that group or you're on your way to joining that group. So what you would rather do is have things in common with people who are doing things that are exceptional and outstanding, which is usually a very small percentage of the masses of people. Everybody follow me? So when I say going against the grain, what you're going to do is look at what most people are doing, how most people think, how most people behave, and you're going to go against that and do something different from that. But there's an asterisk here. There's a reason I have an asterisk in the title to this video. If there's not an asterisk, let me know. I'll make sure it gets added because whoever put this video up, messed up by taking that formatting out. The asterisk should be there. The reason that the asterisk needs to be there is because going against the grain by itself is not the whole game. That's a big piece of it, but that's not the whole. That's not the whole operation. So when you go against the grain, the other thing you have to do to bring the whole thing home and make it work is you got to be right. See, not just going against the grain just to say that you went against the grain. You got to go against the grain, and you must prove that going against the grain was the right idea by actually making yourself successful. So when you do something that most people are not doing, well, first of all, you may get some people, some well-meaning individuals around you who say, well, don't go against the grain because you're doing something different than everybody else, or it might fail, or it's not going to work, or who's ever done that before? What reason do you have to believe that's going to work out? This is things that well-meaning people may say to you. These are things that you may even say to yourself when you decide to go against the grain, because you're doing something that most people are not doing. So the only way you can prove that going against the grain was a smart thing to do, which, again, you need to prove it because everybody else, the other 1,000 people who didn't do what you did, and you're the one person doing this, all those other 1,000 people are going to say, all right, you went against the grain and you ended up failing. You should have did what we did. But if you prove yourself right, now they got to be quiet. But if you end up being wrong, well, you know what's going to happen. The masses who are afraid to do anything other than what everybody else, quote unquote, everybody else is doing, they're going to ridicule you and attack you and feel satisfied in the fact that they're along with the group. They're with the masses. You must prove them wrong by proving yourself right. So anytime you go against the grain, you have to win. So when you go against the grain, you got to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing ends up being successful, that you prove yourself, that you get the desired outcome, whatever it happens to be in the process of doing it, not just doing it just to say that you did it. So any of you, and I would suspect that's most of you who watch videos like this one on topics like this, you are doing some things that are different than what the average masses are doing. Understand that when you do that, you're not going to have a ton of allies. You're not going to have a whole bunch of people co-signing you. Why? Because you're doing something that most of them would never think to do, let alone what they actually do. And you got to prove yourself right. So that's your work. And that's what your focus needs to be on a consistent basis. Anytime you are trying to separate yourself from the masses. And you should be trying to separate yourself from the masses every day in everything you do, by the way. With all that said, text me so you're getting my daily motivation. I send it out every day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. My number is 305-384-6894. Also, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is the only place I do any direct mentoring or coaching. You want to work with me directly, that's the only place I do it. The link to the university and the number to get my text down below in the description to this vid. Hit the subscribe button so you get notified of every new video we drop here on YouTube to work on your game. Dre, all